Hey there, so today I'll be giving a quick rundown on exactly how I built this squat rack out of wood. Now, I was supposed to make this video like probably a week back when I fully assembled everything and it was fully functional, but instead I just decided to make a time-lapse of me building the entire thing and a quick little workout video testing the strength and durability of the squat rack after. So today, this is the full video and full breakdown on exactly how I built this squat rack plus bench for under 150 Canadian dollars. So this will be a quick, simple and easy project for anyone who is stuck at home without a gym, has no access to gym equipment. But quick disclaimer, this is just building the squat rack. You do need to have a barbell and or weights.
Okay, so starting off we have the squat rack, the main event itself. So basically I bought 8 pieces of 2x4x10 and this entire squat rack is just made of 2x4x10 or 2x4s in general, with exception of this back part. Now I'll go more into detail on exactly what I did in the back, but for now let's get into the measurements. So this first piece, this big long one at the back, those are 76 inches. So 76 inches from top to the bottom. And the second piece that you would need is this one, which I marked at 59 inches. And then after that, you have the supporting piece, which will hold the barbell in place so then it won't roll forward. And now that one is marked at 60 inches, or you can do 59.5. And then after that, we have the bench press part. So this piece is marked at 39 inches. So where the barbell sits, that piece is 39 inches. And then the piece in front of it is 40 inches, or you can also do 39.5 inches if you want. So basically how I put everything together was I lay this flat on the ground. I get all my cut pieces of wood, I lay them on the ground. Then after that, I would put wood glue all along this entire beam and then place the second piece of wood on top of it and then screw it in with some wood screws. So these are 2.5 inch wood screws. So I would have one wood screw connecting it here, one in the middle and one at the bottom. And then I would just repeat that. So wood glue and then screw, wood glue, screw, wood glue, screw. So it's super simple and super easy, and having an electric drill would make this a lot easier of a job to do, although you could do it without a wooden drill. You could do it by hand, but it would just take a bit longer. And by bit, I mean a lot. So that's how I made these 2 posts. Everything mirrored. So 76 inches here, 76 inches here. 59 inches here, 59 inches here. It's very important to have them the equal length, because they are not equal, it will be very unbalanced and it will make lifting really awkward and somewhat dangerous. So after that, what I have at the bottom are 2 supports, keeping the post straight at all times. So the length of these are 60 inches. So or actually no, these are 50 inches. So what that would mean is that you would have, if you get 2x4x10s, you can just cut the 2x4x10s in half, and after that you would have 2 on each side. So 2 out of the 8 2x4x10s will be for support on the bottom. And then basically all I did was glued it and then screwed it in. Glue and screw, glue and screw. So have those 2 on the bottom for both sides. Once again, glue and screw, glue and screw. And then for the distance apart, how I measured that was I just found like the standard for squat racks, and since I have about an inch, or yeah, about an inch on each side extra, I just measured an inch extra for this. So the standard distance apart for a squat rack should be 49 inches, but since I have an inch on each side extra, I made mine 52 inches. So the length across is 52 inches. And getting to the back of the squat rack, I just used some scrap wood, or the exact measurement, like I said, would be 51 inches. As long as the width of the wood is 51 inches, you can use any type of wood. You can continue using 2x4s, or in my case, I had extra wood from the bench, so I used that extra wood to give it more security. And on top of that, I put a bunch of rice bags just to add some extra weight. Now we can move on to the bench.
Okay, so that was a quick rundown on exactly what I used to build the squat rack and how I built it. Now, the entire process of building the squat rack and the bench probably took me, give or take, 6 to 7 hours. Now, that was only because my electric drill died on me halfway through, and I had to keep charging it and waiting for it to get fully charged. And for some of the stuff, I had to use my hands to screw it in. So that was a bit, yeah, it is what it is. But end of the day, got it done. It was quick, simple. It was literally like building IKEA furniture, but as everyone knows, IKEA furniture is really unreliable and it is quite frustrating to build at times. So basically, there are a few things that I would change with this design if I had more time and more money that I wanted to put into this, and if I were to have a power saw where I could make angled cuts. Now obviously I don't have one, which is why I didn't do it, but if you do, a good thing that you could do is at the back over there, connecting the two posts to the back where the rice bags are, you could make angled cuts, pieces of wood, angled cuts, make a triangle. That would make it a lot more sturdy, and just basically a lot more sturdy in general. But even though I didn't do that, this is still super sturdy, and I would trust this thing up to anywhere 400 pounds-ish, but obviously I don't have enough weights to even go that high, and I wouldn't recommend anyone lifting. If you were to make this, I wouldn't recommend anyone lifting by themselves, because at the end of the day, it is just made out of wood, held together by screws and glue, so the chances of the squat rack failing is a possibility. So basically, I wouldn't recommend anyone put anything above maybe 315 on this current setup. You could obviously make it more sturdy yourself, adding extra supports on the sides and the back, whatever, to make it more sturdy. This is really sturdy, but I wouldn't risk any life-threatening injuries over squatting a few hundred more pounds. This is just a quick and simple solution for everyone to be able to maintain their current gains until gyms open back up. This is not a permanent solution. If you want a permanent solution, I would very much suggest just investing in an actual squat rack and bench. Now, I do know that a lot of places are sold out, so which is why I made this, and this is why I'm sharing this information, because personally it's been really rough without having any access to gym equipment. So this has been able to help me overcome that. Although it's not the best setup, it is perfect, and it's perfect for everything that I need right now. The only thing that I could ask for is more weights and not using a Texas deadlift bar for squatting. Now, I have a Texas deadlift bar because I was originally planning on putting it in my school and using it at school, but unfortunately coronavirus caused everything to go to shit, and schools are shut down. Can't get my education, can't get my lifts in. Had to substitute everything for home gym workouts at first, but ever since I've built this, it's been phenomenal. All of the measurements that I gave you earlier were all up to my height. So for me, one mistake that I made was I made the squat rack, or the squatting posts, a bit too high for me. I said in I said earlier that it was 59 inches, but it's just a bit too high for me. I forgot to account for the fact that I was doing low bar and I just measured up to my back because I'm kind of dumb, but because I do low bar, I would probably have put this an inch down, maybe an inch and a half down, but oh yeah, my measurements, I'm 6 foot tall, so that's the only thing that I would change about this. The bench press, that's standard bench height. Bench press 39 inches tall. And then this one, so basically these posts are just there for support, so then the bar doesn't like roll back and like crush you, even though like highly doubt it will do anything. So you don't need to have these that high. You can have them at like half an inch shorter. So this one's 39, you can have that one at 39 and a half and you would be fine. So yeah, that's about it for the squat rack. And for the bench, at first when I made it, I made a very retarded mistake. I didn't look up the dimensions and I just kind of assumed that the leg posts were 2 feet high. That was a big mistake. I went to Home Depot, got everything cut, was super excited. I built the bench and I was like, wait a minute, it's a bit tall. So what ended up happening was I had to disassemble the bench the second day, go back to Home Depot and get it recut to the desired height. So what the height is now 14 inches for the posts with an additional half an inch on the bottom for the 2x4. So then in total, the entire height of the thing would be base, half an inch, the posts, 14 inches tall, and then the piece of wood, you can use either 1 inch thick or you can use half an inch thick, depending on whatever wood is cheaper for you or whatever you desire. Anything will work for that. But overall, this is a really sturdy design, and if you would like more detail, you can comment down below. I'll leave all the measurements in text in the description of this video, but for now, this is my squat rack.
Okay, so if you do have a power saw or are able to make angled cuts, what I would recommend doing is just grabbing some 2x4 or some 4x4, depending on what you want, and making an angled cut 45 degrees here that leads down to here, or in the back, wherever. So what that would do is it just keeps everything in place and makes it a lot more sturdy. Even though this is super sturdy, but like if you're squatting a lot of weight and you ram into this, like that will give it extra support and it'll feel a lot more sturdy, because like with this it still does wobble a bit, but that wobble, like, it won't affect the durability or how much weight you should squat on it. Okay, so here is the receipt and all the materials that I used. So as you can see, it is it is under $150. Now granted, you could make this squat rack for a lot less, or not a lot less, but you could make it for less money if you just remove some of the support. And there's another design where instead of having all of this stuff, you could just use a bucket, fill it up with cement. It will work just as well, but for my purposes, I decided, you know what, if I'm going to spend all this money on making a squat rack, I might as well make it more secure. So that is why I added all of this extra support, and it costs $150. Usually, if you were just to make the 2 posts, have a bucket and cement, and then make this bench, it would probably be under $100. So the squat rack together would be around $60 Canadian, and this bench would be around $40-ish Canadian. So this is very open to interpretation. You can change up the design wherever, however, as long as the basic principles are there. It's in the squat posts and the bench, but everything else on the bottom, along the back, you can change that up to however you want.
Okay, so thank you for watching, and if you guys have any more questions about how I built the squat rack or the bench, or just any questions in general, you can always leave a comment on the video, and if you liked it, leave a like and please subscribe. Thank you.